All right, what's going on, guys? Good morning. So let's see if we are streaming all good. Hope you guys have had a beautiful start to today. So let's have a look. Hey, Tez, good morning, my brother. I hope you're well, mate. So, Tez, can you let me know that this sound is coming through okay on the mic? Just let me know. I've just had a few tech dramas this morning and had to switch to the old webcam, which is why the clarity is not quite as good. But just wanted to make sure that we are all good. So, perfect. Nice one, Tez. So, how are you guys? How's the morning been? Start to the weekend. Jesus, we're getting close to Christmas. Can you feel the festive season in the air? Bloody Mariah Carey's everywhere. Anyway, hey guys, what's going on? All right, so if you are coming in live, make sure you say hi in the comments, guys. We're going to kickstart this episode on navigating Christmas in 1 minute. So what's the plan for the weekend? Hey, Em, good morning. Good morning, Danny Troutman. How are you, my brother? How are you, mate? Tell me, guys, how was the mastermind catch-up call this morning? Thanks for getting it together, Nikki, as normal, mate. It looked really good. Mr. Sean Ford. Wow. The big dog's in the house. How are you, my dude? I hope you were well. I was actually thinking of you yesterday, Shawnee, when I saw you kicking back with your beer there, mate. And I was thinking to myself, that better be a low-cal beer. I hope you're good there, mate. I hope you're good. Yeah, it was a good call. M, just feeding Aspen. That's such a cool name. I love that, M. So, guys, we're going to get started in 20 seconds. What is the plan for this morning, guys? What's the what is going on for this weekend? What do you guys got planned? Have you made your deposits? No doubt you have, Tez. What's the workout planner? I've already been done my Friday deposits. Really solid leg session this morning, and I'm walking like a baby giraffe. I love it. It's really kind of good to, it's good to get amongst it. Just finishing your session now. All right, guys. Well, I reckon on that note, we should get started. What do you reckon? Shawnee says, I'm good. Good morning, Nico. How are you, mate? No doubt you're probably coming in for the gym, Nico. Okay, let's get started on this episode, guys. Let's do it. On the count of 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Welcome back to the Better Body Academy podcast, the podcast that you come to when you're sick of the dumb diets and unsustainable workout programs. I'm your host, Jace, and I'm super excited to be here this morning. What I'm going to be going through with you guys this morning is a little bit around how to navigate this Christmas period. I've got 5 simple ideas that are a simplification of a training that we ran inside of the Better Body Academy through the week. And I'm going to share that with you guys today. So it will be a good recap for the people inside of the Academy. And if you missed the training, it'll give you the summarized version today. So we're going to be discussing what to do over this Christmas period to make sure that you enter the other side of Christmas in a good state. So I want to pause before we go into this episode, and I want to ask you guys the question. Let me know the answers in the comments. I want to start by asking, we are, 15 days from Christmas, 14 days from Christmas in Australia. I want to ask you, how has 2021 been for your health? Has it improved? Has it roughly stayed the same? Or did it kind of take a little bit of a step backwards? Let me know in the comments, guys. And if you are listening on later on, I'd be super interested to know, have a think about what this year has brought for you. Has it brought more abundance, or has it kind of been a bit of a struggle? The second question to ask yourself is, if so, whatever the answer to that first question is, why was it? If it improved, why did it improve? If it went down, why did it go backwards? If it stayed the same, why did it stay the same? The reason I'm asking you this question is because learning from what you did right and what you perhaps did wrong, there's probably a lesson in that. And taking that lesson into 2022, this is a really, really good time to think about what that lesson is. I think so many of us, we just move on day to day and we fail to learn the lessons of either our success or our failure. But the truth is, success and failure both leave cues. This is based on something called the law of cause and effect. Nothing happens by luck. If you didn't have a year where your health improved, that was because you didn't do a set of actions that brought you the outcome that you maybe would have preferred. And if you did win, well, that is because you did something right. It didn't happen by luck. So what I want to avoid happening here for you is that you hit the 1st of January and you don't have a plan. If you've already reached January 1st, January 5th, January 10th, and you are not in momentum, you are repeating the same mistakes that people make year after year after year. And this is hinging your success on hope. Hope is not a plan. In fact, 87% of New Year's resolutions fail. 87%. So if the evidence says that they fail and you do the same thing over and over again, well, why would you expect a different result? Okay. So I did a workshop inside the Better Body Academy through the week. It was called the Festivity Navigator. What I was trying to do is help our clients navigate this kind of tricky period here, particularly between Christmas and New Year, where I think we naturally have this sense of guilt around our food and our eating. Maybe our training goes down a little bit. And so it can cause us to get out of momentum. But I've just said to you guys, I think it's really, really important that we stay into momentum into the new year. This doesn't mean that we have to keep a cracking speed. What it means is that we just don't want our car to come to a dead stop. Because as you guys know, clutch starting a car from a dead stop is a lot harder than keeping a car in momentum and just picking up that momentum into the new year. This time is tough to navigate if you're on a transformation because you don't want to reverse your gains, right? You've worked hard over the last 6 to 12 months and you don't want to go backwards. And this time is also difficult to navigate if you're not on a transformation because you know that historically you probably gain what, 2 to 3 kilograms over this time? Is that normal? Yeah, it is. Most people gain 2 to 3 kilograms over this time. So what we need to do is we need to have a plan going into the new year. I want to first say, guys, that I believe that self-awareness is the one skill that we need to develop. If you have self-awareness, you are intentional. There is no need to feel guilt during this period. Guys, this should be a period of time to focus on celebrating with friends. Like, hands up if you're going to do that. I'm going to enjoy some beers with my family. I'm going to enjoy some food with my family. And you know what? If you're the person that's sitting at the table, you know, refusing to eat because you're on a transformation or you don't want to put on weight or you feel guilty, it's going to impact the enjoyment of your Christmas period. That's not something that you should be doing. Okay? So let's talk about how to basically work through this period. If you've got a plan, this is just going to be the period of time which is the calm before the storm, and we crack back into 2022, maybe on the 4th, the 5th, the 6th of January, and we go hard. Okay? So here is 5 helpful tips that's going to help you keep the weight at bay during these holidays, but still allow you to enjoy yourself. Who wants to hear them? Let's go. Number 1, we need to stay mobile and track our steps. Why is this important? This sounds like such an obvious thing to say, but why is this actually important? Well, the truth of it is that when you start eating a lot of food, you feel heavy. And when you have food in your digestive system, the body is required to break down that food. And breaking down that food takes some of the nutrients and oxygen, and so it directs that away from your brain. So you feel tired, and all the energy is in your gut trying to process this food. This is why when you have really big, heavy meals, right, you feel a little bit sluggish. And so what our goal is here is to make sure that we have a defense mechanism against that sluggishness. That defense mechanism is very simple and does not involve long cardio sessions. It simply means tracking your steps. Guys, one of the things that we went through in the workshop that we run through the week is that aside from your metabolism, the thing that impacts your daily calorie burn the most is what? Just being active. No, I'm not talking about exercise. I'm just talking about just being active, getting off the couch and getting down the beach with your kids, playing a game of backyard cricket or whatever it is for you. These are the things that actually make the difference, because when you get off the couch, you keep your incidental activity high. And so this works as a buffer against some of the food you're eating. So the number one thing that I want you to do is to track your steps during this period, okay? So super important that you don't equate relaxation with just sitting on your ass and watching 5 days of the Ashes Test series, but not doing any activity. It will impact upon your weight, okay? So number one is to track your steps. A really good method of doing this is having a look inside the native app on your phone and seeing what historically your steps have actually been. And just try to make sure that you're not going backwards from that historical mark. Does that make sense? So for example, on the iPhone, what you'd do is you'd go into the health app, you'd open up, you'd see you've got an average step count of 5,000 steps a day, and you want to make sure that you're keeping above that 5,000 steps during the Christmas period. Very simple stuff, number one. Number two, okay, work with me guys, is to front end your workouts and back end your food. I'm going to say that again so it hits. Front end your workouts, back end your food. What do I mean by this? Well, we know that as soon as the friends and family come round, there's going to be beers involved, there's going to be food involved, and what's not going to be involved is any form of exercise, because you're going to be sitting down enjoying the company, right? Completely fine, completely natural. So what we want to do is try to prioritize our workouts towards the front of the day, because we know that if we can put a tick in the box for as many days as possible, that's going to mean that we can have the rest of the entire day to do whatever we want. This is pretty important, I guess, for people in Australia, especially because you guys know that you're going to be tempted by the beautiful long summer days. Hopefully this rain pisses off. And what that basically means is if you haven't done your workout in the morning, it's going to mean that the afternoon, it's not going to get done, okay? So what we want to do is front end our workouts and back end our food. Now, more on the food component, what I'm hinting at here is by back ending your food, this basically means that you perhaps include some fasting in the morning period. So rather than eating over the typical, 13 or 14 hour eating window, instead you just eat towards the back end of the day. So you shrink the eating window down to say 7, 8 hours. So that'd be, for example, midday to 6, 7, 8 o'clock. And it's just highly likely that you're not going to eat as much food during an 8 hour window as you are in a 12 to 13 to 14 hour window. Okay. So we've got so far, number one, track your steps. We've got number two, front end your workouts and back end your food. Number three, and I think you're going to like this one, particularly to those of you that do enjoy a little bit of festivity over Christmas with your food and drinks, and that is use the week between Christmas and New Year's as an official diet break. I hate the word diet. But whenever we are effectively going into a calorie deficit, what we're talking about is being in a diet. So what we want to do is we want to use the period between Christmas and New Year's as a little bit of a reset or a reprieve. Now, guys, I want to make a point. I am not talking about a massive cheat week. A cheat week is where I hate the term, and it's where you basically eat whatever you want and think that it's not going to impact you. Of course it's going to impact you. If you've been consistently in a calorie deficit for a period of time, you will have lost weight. And so what we do is for the week of between Christmas and New Year, we, instead of eating in a calorie deficit, we just eat back at our maintenance calorie levels, okay? So what that means is you're basically burning up the same amount of food that you're taking in, and so therefore, for a period of time, you don't lose weight, but you don't gain any weight. And this is a really, really good time and strategy to do that, okay? So what I'm talking about here is if you're a man and you've been eating in and around a 500 calorie deficit, okay, from your maintenance level, we're just going to go back and pull those 500 calories back in and eat back at our maintenance level. The same thing applies if you're a woman, okay? What we're not doing is going full ball, all hog, eating like a hyena and expecting no rebound fat gain. What I will tell you guys is this. If you have been in a deficit, your body is going to now be primed for fat storage, okay? I'm going to say that again. If you've been in a sustained deficit for a period of time, your body is now going to be primed for fat storage. So if you go completely ham during this Christmas to New Year's period, expect to get a little bit of rebound fat gain. It's just going to be part of the process, okay? Now, if you can accept that, great. I personally don't. I'm not going to do that myself. I'm just going to eat back at my kind of maintenance, roughly, levels and enjoy it. I'm going to utilize some fasting on the front end of the day and back end my beers, back end my food. I'm not going to go to the dessert bar for 3 occasions. Does this make sense? So, number 4, I want you to think indulgent meals, not indulgent days. Okay, now there's a difference. So what we've gone and we've talked about is we've talked about a week and how we should think about the week between Christmas and New Year. And what I've said to you is what I'd suggest you do is just go back to eating at your maintenance calories. Now what I'm talking about is going more granular and looking at a specific day. Okay, what you want to avoid doing is compounding 3 big meals, because that's going to send you into a massive calorie surplus. What instead we want to do is probably with the tool of fasting, I would suggest utilizing, okay, I'm going to fast for the morning period of time and I'm going to have an indulgent lunch, which is typically my setup, and then I'm going to have a mid-range dinner. Does this make sense? So we've gone from the week and we've gone granular into a day, and we're going to say, I'm going to make sure that over my 24-hour period, my calories don't get crazily out of hand, because even though I had maybe a 1,000-calorie meal in the middle, over the course of the 24 hours, it just really wasn't actually that much of a blowout. Does that make sense? So we've talked from a week, now we've talked about a day. Hopefully that makes sense. The last idea that I've got for you is really a play to your egos and your level of self-awareness somewhat. And that is that you don't need to be a hero regarding your food and drink. And look, I can remember being 20, 25 years old, and the goal was just like, just eat and drink and get drunk and all that type of stuff. Now that I'm touching 40, it's just not what I want from my life anymore. I don't want to wake up on the day after Christmas with a massive hangover and sit on the couch and do nothing all day. Like, what is that like for you? Like, do you enjoy that? I'm thinking that if you're listening to this podcast either live or later on down the track on a replay, you're probably the sort of person that is at some level interested in taking care of their health. So if you approach this period with no level of guilt, but definitely some self-awareness. What I mean by this is you can easily sit down, watch the cricket, have 5 low-calorie beers and enjoy it. When it starts to go to you sit there and you crush half a carton, well, I just kind of feel that maybe we've lost our awareness, and you really can't expect to keep yourself in some level of shape if you just go completely ham on this. Likewise, when we talk about food, if you've got an endless buffet of food, like definitely enjoy yourself, but actually slow down and enjoy the food. Like if you feel like, does anyone feel really, really, really good after they've had a massive meal and they enter a food coma? I don't think anyone feels good about that. So instead, what we do is we just enjoy our food, and when we've had enough of it, we stop. We shouldn't really be coming off the back of our Christmas meal and going, oh, I feel so fucking disgusting, I need to spew. Like, that's just losing sense of self-awareness. So guys, I'm going to go back through the 5 key points that I've shared with you this morning, and I would really suggest you take a mental note or you write these down somewhere. Number one is to stay mobile and track your steps. Be attentive to your steps. Make sure that whatever your average is, you don't drop below your average for this period. And this will mean that at minimum, you're pushing up the baseline level of calories that you burn. That's number one. Number two is to front end your workouts and back end your food. Okay? Front end your workouts, because if you don't do them at the front of the day, there's no chance that you're going to get to them by the end of the day when you've had all the food, you've had all the beers, you'll write that day off. So put a tick in the box at the start of the day. Number three is to use the Christmas and New Year's break as a diet break week. So this means that we go from eating at a deficit to just going back to eating at roughly our maintenance figure. We still need to get some sort of approximation of tracking our calories. Maybe it's not every single meal, but we want to be able to eyeball it and think, look, this is about where I am. Get it into MyFitnessPal. Make sure that you're actually paying some attention to the level. What we don't want to do is be having 3, 4, 5, 6,000 calorie days and expect that we're going to be able to maintain our weight, because we won't. Number four, okay, is think indulgent meals, not indulgent days. This is a very simple concept. It basically means that we look at it and we go, lunchtime's going to be my indulgent meal, so I'm going to taper off either side of lunch. Or if dinner's the indulgent one for you because maybe you don't have any babies in your family, maybe you guys get together and cook up a big dinner, great. Well then, make sure that breakfast is fasting and lunch is moderate. Does that make sense? And then the fifth tip is don't be a hero with beers and food. No one's going to die if you don't get drunk with the family. It's okay if you don't get drunk. It's okay if you enjoy 5 low-calorie beers and just enjoy the beers in the company. You don't have to act like a hyena at a kill and eat everything there in front of you, because it will have implications on your weight. Look, guys, 2022 is either going to be your year or it's not, okay? It's either going to be your year or it's not. And what I mean by that is you're going to have a choice right now. Do you want to exit the holidays feeling recharged, or do you want to exit the holidays feeling like you need a holiday from your holiday? You know that feeling when you go away on a holiday and you've done so much and you've been so mobile, then you get back home and you feel like that wasn't a holiday. I didn't rest and recover at all. The same is going to be true of these holidays. You want to be making sure that you come out, the 5th, 10th of January, whatever it is, feeling recharged, having had enough sleep, having had some decent food, still getting your activity, still getting your workouts in, not feeling guilty about enjoying yourself. The biggest and most important thing, guys, is this. You want to come out of this period in some level of momentum. This does not mean that you need to be crushing it at 100 miles an hour. What it just simply means is that you don't want to let your car come to a stop. If it comes to a stop somewhere between that Christmas and New Year's week, you're going to have to be the guy or girl that goes on the 10th of January and sits there needing to clutch start their car again. You're going to need to go back to trying to find motivation, which is going to be difficult. If you just continue the motivation, even at a slower pace during this period, you're going to enter 2022 and you're going to see all these people making their New Year's resolutions, and you're going to smile because you didn't come to a stop. You're already in momentum. You're a powerful man or woman that's maintained a set of habits during Christmas, not felt guilty, because being healthy involves some indulgence, and you should do that. So guys, that's a wrap on today's episode. Hopefully it's been helpful and a little bit of a recap for our Better Body Academy members. I'm Jay Stewart. This has been the Better Body Academy podcast. You come here if you're sick of dumb diets, unsustainable workout programs, and of course, feeling guilty over Christmas. It's stupid. I'll see you guys in the next episode.